We've got some news right now from Ilan Moy about a plan to make community college free. She joins us right now with the details. Ilan, good morning.
Well, good morning, Becky. Progressives are unveiling a proposal today that would make not just community college free, but also give households earning less than $125,000 a free ride to any public university. The catch, though, is that Wall Street would wind up paying for it. So here's how this would work. The federal government would cover 75% of tuition and fees, though that could go up to 90% during recessions. States would be responsible for the rest. To offset that cost, Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal want to tie this program to a new financial transaction tax. The Wall Street Speculation Act would impose a 50 basis point tax on stock trades, 10 basis points on bonds, and a fee of 5 basis points on derivatives. Now, those numbers do add up. Progressives say it could raise $2.4 trillion over a decade, though there are a wide range of outside estimates about how much that would actually bring in. Now, President Biden was open to the idea of a financial transaction tax when he was running for office, and the free college plan is actually based off of what Biden proposed on the campaign trail. So, guys, what we're seeing here is progressives trying to put pressure on the White House to embrace both these issues as Biden gets ready to roll out the human capital portion of his infrastructure package. Back over to you.
Ilan, when you first started talking about this and mentioned it was Bernie Sanders who was kind of behind some of this, I thought, OK, it's not very likely. This is going to be very progressive. Then you point out that it's things that Biden himself has campaigned for. How much support is there for something like this, not just with the Biden administration, but also within the Senate and within the House?
Yeah, so we're expecting to see who has actually co-sponsored the bill along with Senator Sanders today. That list will be revealed later on this morning. But I think what's notable here is that one of the chief criticisms of the Free College for All plan was that it would cover college and subsidize college by the U.S. government for people who could afford to pay for it. This proposal sort of lowers the cap and lowers the income threshold for households to qualify for that free college program. That's a recognition amongst progressives that there were some concerns and criticisms of the initial plan. So, you know, this is something that has support from moderates as well, like President Biden himself. You know, the question will be whether or not he's willing to spend the money that would be required to put this program forward. On the campaign trail, he did not tie this to a transaction tax. We've already seen that his new second phase of his infrastructure proposal would likely be in the $1.5 trillion price tag. So that's something that could be difficult for Democrats even to swallow as they look at something that was already $2 trillion for the first phase of its infrastructure package. So there are a lot of numbers floating around. There are a lot of different ways that Democrats are looking to pay for these things, and they're going to have to decide what their priorities are because they may not have that many chances to get something done.
Yeah, Ilan, I just wanted to go back to the issue of the tying to the financial transaction tax, because that was something that and you just said it, that I had not recalled the Biden pushing for. But also, it's pretty clear, I think, that the Biden administration is not for financial transaction tax at all. Whenever that's been raised, that's something that they have not looked upon fondly, right?
He said during the campaign that it was something that he would be open to, but he never presented a plan for what that would look like. You know, Bernie Sanders has been pushing this for a long time. You know, progressive Democrats say it's an easy source of money, but I think that, you know, one concern that people like President Biden would have is that, you know, who is really going to end up paying for this? Is it really going to be sort of the high frequency traders that this type of legislation is intended to target? Or is it going to be, as we've seen over this past year, sort of the retail investor who ends up getting stuck with the bill? So those are some of the competing, you know, concerns that the administration is likely going to be balancing as they weigh what are the types of pay-fors that they're going to include in any package.
Ilan, you said that this would be for any school, and I just kind of wonder what this would mean for tuition prices, which have spiraled well ahead of inflation costs for decades at this point. I know that state legislatures in many states have cut back on the support that they've given to the state universities. I spoke with the Rutgers University president last week about that, and it's a significant decline over what they were paying for a decade ago, which is part of the reason you've seen tuition go up. But if you have the federal government picking up 90% of the tab, what is to stop tuition from continuing to skyrocket? I mean, you think of the unintended consequences that would come with a move like this.
Yeah, so I think part of the other question around this program is, are states going to buy into it, right? Because as you mentioned, states have not necessarily
10%,
funded higher education at the levels that that a lot of parents and families would like to see it. But states would have to buy into this. There is going to be skin in the game for state and local governments as well. So, you know, what would be the uptake? Would every state participate? Would some states sit out? You could also have a situation of sort of haves and have-nots then across the country. But there is analysis that estimates that I believe an additional 2 million people would end up enrolling in college because of this. So, you know, the sort of long-term economic payoff of having more people with a higher education, progressives, some Democrats would argue that's worth the trade-off.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.